I love winter backpacking. It is restful, peaceful, the food is better, it's just absolutely relaxing. However, winter backpacking does come with its fair share of challenges. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you some of the challenges that my brother and I faced while doing a 19-mile loop just a few weeks ago. The trip started perfectly fine. We were planned out, we were ready to go. We knew what we were going to do. I had my gear all loaded out. I was really confident with everything I had, and everything I had worked out great. We were expecting snow the first night, even hiking out, and then overnight, and maybe a little bit of snow in the morning on day number 2. However, what we got was a lot of rain the first night, right until dark. And at dark, it turned over to pretty heavy snow, and we got about 4 or 5 inches of snow that night. So let's take a look at how this trip starts off. Today I am heading out with my brother, who's right there. He's mute. He doesn't know how to talk. Just kidding, he talks a lot. A lot. We are off for a 2-night trip. It is wintertime in Michigan, except it's raining. Welcome to Michigan, where it does whatever the heck it wants to do for the weather. It is 4 o'clock. We have 2 hours until dark, so we're probably gonna hike for maybe 2-3 miles and then set up camp because we want to find a bunch of wood and have a nice big fire tonight. So without further ado, let's do this. Now, thankfully, my brother and I planned for inclement weather, or weather that we weren't planning for. We knew that there was a chance that the snow might be rain at first, and so we did throw our raincoats in the truck. That paid off because we needed those raincoats for about the first hour and a half of hiking, right until about dark when it finally changed over to snow. Now, once we got to camp, my brother started to learn some lessons about winter backpacking, things that I have gone through in the past, things that anyone who hikes for the first time in the winter are going to learn in some way, shape, or form. I was all warm and snuggly in my hammock that night. I had the right gear. It was wonderful. But let's take a look at what my brother was sleeping in that night. He took a single wall tent. It's a 2-person tent, barely big enough for 1 person really. And his feet were absolutely going to be touching the top of that tent all night. Winter, just below freezing, touching the outer wall of a tent, single wall tent. What do you think is going to happen? A ton of condensation. And that's exactly what happened. He woke up in the morning absolutely freezing, absolutely wet. There's no way his gear was going to make it a second night. It's almost 8 o'clock this morning, and it was an interesting night. We got to camp probably with about 20-ish minutes before it really got dark, and it was raining, and it was raining pretty good. And we got my stuff set up, and then it was dark. In fact, I think I finished setting up in the dark, and my brother was processing some wood, and then we went to set up his not winter tent. No, not even a little winter. So he's wet and he's cold this morning. I'm in my Warbonnet gear and my UGQ top quilt. And I stayed warm and I stayed dry, which was really good. A little condensation on my top quilt, but it wiped right off with my buff. But it's snowing again, and it is a winter wonderland here in Michigan right now. It's absolutely gorgeous. We're just making some coffee, making some breakfast, and warming up a bit because it is cold. And I had the most glorious moment this morning. About 20 minutes ago or so, I took a walk, did the lean, and headlamp off, and everything is snow covered. Everything, every branch, every tree, it is just absolutely gorgeous, which means I had the most glorious poop ever. It was beautiful. It was a glorious poop, glorious scenery, and a glorious morning. Good things happen when you go backpacking.
But mostly the poop.
Mostly the poop. It was great. It was great. So anyway, we're going to finish making breakfast, and we're going to decide what we're going to do today. My brother's stuff's pretty wet, and he's pretty cold, so I don't know if we're going to try to do another night or not, but we'll make that determination, I think, once we get totally packed up and get moving and kind of see where things are. But until then, it's coffee time.
Really slow. Right. And then
So we woke up that second morning. As I said, he was cold, he was wet. We had to make a decision to go ahead and get off trail that day. Just was not going to be safe at all staying out there a second night. It was absolutely a winter wonderland hiking off this trail. Take a look at some of these views. Check out how beautiful this is. It's still snowing. I hope you can see that. Yeah, it's just gorgeous. Now I have one takeaway as well from this trip. I had my short sleeve 100% merino wool shirt, then I had an outdoor research mid layer, and then this puffy coat. That was really a good setup. However, because of the first night hiking out when it was raining, I had my t-shirt on, that mid layer, and then my raincoat. So what I ended up doing was getting really hot in that raincoat, you know, my sweat wicked through the merino wool shirt and completely absorbed on that outdoor research mid layer, and it never dried. And so the next day coming out, I was fine. I had the t-shirt on and this puffy coat, but I got really warm in the puffy coat. And so I took the coat off and hiked out the rest of the way, probably about 1.5 miles or so, just with my t-shirt on. But the smart thing in the winter would be to probably have a long sleeve shirt. So for me, I do want to get a 100% merino wool long sleeve shirt. All in all, it was a really good trip. Even though we only got out for one night, it was absolutely worth it. So make sure you guys get out, do some winter backpacking. It's a lot of fun. You're going to learn some things. There's new challenges, but also don't be stupid and make sure that you play your safe cards as well. Anyways, guys, thanks for visiting. Have a good hike, and we'll see you on the next video.